Hello, poets. This is Poetics Podcast, and I am Tamara Rockwood. I am the founder of Bainbridge Island Press with my husband, Ben Rockwood, out here in the Pacific Northwest. And we believe that poetry is meant to be heard. We want it to be heard and loved and appreciated. And so we're bringing it to you. We're bringing it to you in digital form. We have express chapbooks on our website. We have journals that are available in print. We have anthologies that are available in print. And now we have a podcast. And I really couldn't be happier doing all of this. Poetry is meant to be experienced. From our home base, Bainbridge Island Press, we are just up to our ears in good things, all good things. So today we're going to be going through a wonderful poet who I greatly respect. And in the future, I'm getting together some featured guests to explore some of the poems that have shaped their lives. Because poetry isn't just an art form, it's a conversation that spans time, that spans people, and it's conversation that we are inviting you to join. So grab your favorite drink, get comfortable, and join us as we dive into the world of poetry. Welcome to Poetics Podcast. So today we are going to hear a poem by a lovely poet named Adelia Ritchie. Now, I met Adelia Ritchie quite a few years ago, and we met through poetry, and we met through publishing, and I had to sell her that I was a competent person to work with her, and I just told her who I was and what I did and what I believed, and some of the things, because we were working on a volunteer poetry group, and it had an event, and I had to explain what working in volunteer poetry groups looked like for me, because it's very different than if you were working in a corporation or with a business or with a nonprofit. When you're volunteering, your heart is the commodity. And I told her that the most important thing for me in that position would be to listen. That is the most important part, because if you listen to the people and what they have done before and what they're planning on doing this year, and what they see the shape of the group looking like, it will help to create a really solid community. And also, the poets have to trust you in leadership, that you are not going to, there's a lot of things you could do wrong. Number one, you cannot listen to them. You can make fun of them. You can belittle them. You can be condescending. You can be a snob. You could be mean. You can be angry. You can marginalize people. I could go on and on with things that you could do wrong, and things that I think that a lot of us have seen gone wrong. And I said that we're all in this because we love poetry and we like each other. And so what can I do in this administrative role where I am collecting poems and I'm organizing things and I'm handling funds, and this is all people's money and their work. And the most important part is that they trust me with their poetry. If they don't trust me with their poetry, just handling it, then they aren't going to participate. They aren't going to send it in. And that is going to be detrimental for them, because when you're working with other people in an art space, you are putting your heart in the space, and it needs to be something that is honored and respected and appreciated and loved and protected. You need to not lose emails. You cannot accidentally delete things. You can't get people's names wrong. Typos are a problem, but also formatting poetry on a page through email is nebulous and dangerous. And it's just tough. That one is the toughest. So anyways, I got to know her initially through her handing me over a binder, and she trusted me with it. And that meant more to me than I could even begin to speak words. But after that, I got to know her, and she's just such a delightful person. She's one of the most fascinating people that I've met, and I think that she sets a high bar for that, because I'll share a little bit of her bio, and I'll just let you understand on your own. So, Adelia Ritchie is an editor, an author, a scientist, and a technical writer, which is really putting it lightly. Her works have been published on Substack and Medium, and in both the Salish magazine and El Residente, where she was a contributing editor. She has a couple of recent books. She has The Accidental Expat, A Costa Rican Adventure, and An Accidental Masterpiece, Poems from a Colorful Life. Also, I had the great pleasure of publishing a book that she edited, and her poetry is in it, with 4 other poets, and it is available on BainRhode It is titled Timeless Voices, a Poetry Anthology, and that was dedicated to the legacy of a poet who very sadly passed away recently, and her name was Nancy Ricow on Bainbridge Island. And Nancy Ricow has a long legacy, and she has big shoes to fill. She had been teaching workshops and mentoring poetry for at least 40 years, and the legacy that she left is enormous, and I'm so grateful to have been able to meet her at least once. So I'm very blessed that we were able to honor Adelia and the other poets and provide them with a very beautiful book, and very professional, very, very, very nice book. You should at least take a look at it. It's gorgeous. But also, I'm very grateful that we were able to honor Nancy Ricow through Bainbridge Island Press. Now, when I say that Adelia Ritchie is an editor, author, scientist, and technical writer, I'm going to read a little bit of another bio that I found on Medium, and I'm just going to read what she wrote. So this is on her Medium account, and I encourage you to visit her pages because she's fascinating. So she said, writing an introductory bio has always been a challenge for me, which it is for all of us. I've done just about everything a girl can ever dream of doing. An international flight attendant, a professor of organic chemistry, a civilian staff officer in the Department of Defense, a belly dancer, a systems engineer, editor of the Military Operations Research Society journal Phalanx, inventor and entrepreneur, and now retired and master gardener, climate change activist, and poet. She has a PhD in physical organic chemistry. She has a minor in nuclear magnetic resonance. I am just delighted to know her as a person. She's so nice. She has a kind heart. I could probably talk for the next 10 minutes about how much I like her. But what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to stop so we can hear her poem. And here it is.
Hi, I'm Adelia Ritchie, reading Night Shroud. The nights stretch into infinity. Why do I care what he thinks of me? Old memories creep into restless sleep. I toss and turn as regrets burn a hole in my soul, in the heart that I left but thought I had kept. I haven't wept and haven't slept. I couldn't see the truth that was right in front of me. How long will I feel this way? Evening mist descends to close the day, to shroud my world. Beneath it, I'm curled like a bear in its cave. Or is it a grave? Thank you.
I like her writing because it is a wonderful contrast of love and tenderness and violence, which I use the word violence very tentatively because I don't want to make it sound like it is a violent poem. But at the same time, isn't heartbreak a violent expression of love? Don't we feel that when we have heartbreak, when we are always thinking about this person and she walks us through the heartbreak of why do I care? And it's never easy to understand, but at the end, there is a bear, isn't there? She said, uncurl like a bear in its cave. And I really appreciate the strength of that. The strength of feeling is something that can be expressed in poetry in a way that can seem illogical or dismissive in any other form. If you wrote a letter to yourself and said, this is how I feel, and it's a list. If you used figurative language, it wouldn't make sense. But poetry allows us to expand our consciousness into something that we can understand what that strength feels like. And I think that the economy of words that Adelia uses is perfect, and it is on point. I like the images that she used. I like the strength of emotions that she had played out. I'm so grateful that I'm able to share this with you. If you would like to read more of her work, it is available in Timeless Voices on BambridgeIslandPress.com. It's available in local bookstores. I encourage you to get to know her. I think that it would be a good use of your time. I think it's a good use of all of our time. So, Adelia, thank you so much for sharing. It's lovely. All right, party people. That's all for today. If you've enjoyed diving into the world of verse with us, please join us next time where we have more poets to meet, more poems to explore, and more literary adventures to share. Until then, keep reading, keep writing, and keep poetry close to your heart. Thank you for joining POETICS Podcast, where we bring poetry to life, one verse at a time.